Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, the top 10 mistakes you're making with your digital marketing. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DEALERUN. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DEALERUN, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. DEALERUN was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012 and 2013, and DEALERUN customers were winners of the Spring and Fall 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, including the highly coveted overall winner. And recently at NADA, DEALERUN also received the Best in Show Award for website design from Dealer Marketing magazine. DEALERUN is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at DEALERUN.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Gary May as our presenter today. Gary May launched interactive marketing and consulting services in 2007 with a focus on helping dealerships and OEMs with digital marketing, e-commerce, process, and branding. The company also added social media management and sales training in 2008. Focusing on best practices for marketing and lead management, Gary's passion for businesses in the automotive space coincides with his no-holds-barred approach to business management. Featured as a speaker at automotive events, including Driving Sales, J.D. Power and Associates, and PCG, he's a regular blogger and a recognized dealer advocate. He and his company focus their strengths and attention on making progressive dealerships unique in a time where there are more constraints being forced, limiting franchises. Gary is an avid traveler and a cyclist, and he can be reached at gary@imaxweb.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, well, we're going to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And hey, DEALERUN's going to be at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention in Orlando. So if you're going to be there, you got to come visit us at booth 407. The Digital Dealer Conference and Expo is a great conference. It always is. It's May 7, 8, and 9. Boy, it's next week. And it's going to be at the Rosen Shingle Creek. And I'm going to be there. So I'd love to meet you. And we're going to have some great speaking sessions from some members of the DEALERUN executive team. So check those out. And I want to let you know, too, we are going to be broadcasting live from booth 407 from the Digital Dealer Convention in Orlando on Thursday, May 9th. So if you're going to be there, come watch us live. You can ask questions live, be on the air, all that stuff. More details are going to be coming at you at the end of this presentation. But if you can't make it out to Orlando, then I hope that you'll all come to the webinar on May 9th. And guess what? Our good friends at Interactive Marketing and Consulting Services are giving one of you lucky attendees today a great prize for your dealership. What is it? It's a comprehensive contact assessment and 1-hour training with Gary May. And it's valued at $750, but you have to be on the broadcast to win it. So stay tuned for more details at the end of the presentation. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. And today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn the top 10 mistakes you're making with your digital marketing. Gary May, my goodness, it is, it's too long. I can't believe you haven't been on my webinar before now, but I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Eliana, and again, our destiny-laden engagement at NADA where you invited me, so thank you very much. It's always an honor to be hosted with a progressive digital marketing company, so thank you very much for having me.
Oh, Gary, I'm so excited. And if you people in the audience today, if you missed it earlier, I'm letting you know this is a content-rich webinar that Gary is about to give to you. I mean, there's no fooling around. He's going to tell you way more than 10. It's so funny because when you and I, Gary, were talking about doing this webinar and we were throwing around ideas for what you wanted to speak about. And we came up with, hey, the mistakes you're making. I'm like, can you put a number on it? And you're like, well, I could put 100. You wanted me to do 100? I don't think we could fit that into an hour. So he narrowed it down to the top 10. And I'm looking forward to seeing, as the audience members are as well, what are the top 10 mistakes that we're all making with our digital marketing. So where do we get started, Gary?
How about we go now?
Okay.
So thank you again, Eliana and DEALERUN, for hosting me.
It's my pleasure.
And
my pleasure.
Everybody that has registered and attended, thank you for participating. And participation is the key element here. Anybody who's been on webinars that I've been on before or any of my speaking sessions, you'll know that engagement's the key. So I challenged everybody over the last few days in social to come up with some questions based on the presentation, and hopefully that's going to hit me with some tough ones. So as you can see here, we're going to really look at addressing and answering, giving a little bit of strategy as well, some takeaways as far as nailing these top 10 pain points, with the top one being it starts with lack of education. That's followed by willingness to change. You hear that all over the industry. And one thing that's really been evident with digital strategies is holding staff and vendors accountable. This touches every part of digital strategies. And as Eliana already pointed out, we will have a Q&A session after the prize giveaway. That is a DEALERUN exclusive. So let's dive right into it. Hey, Eliana, why don't we start with a poll question?
That's a great idea, Gary. Let's do it. Okay, audience. If you're here and you're ready, then you know we like this to be as interactive as possible. So we're going to start off with a poll question. We want to know what you think. So get it ready. Look at your screen. Here we go. What percent of your dealership's monthly marketing budget is dedicated solely to digital marketing? So select one of the following answers. Is it under 50%? Is it between 50 and 60%? Is it somewhere between 60 and 70%? Are you one of those dealerships who's actually spending more than 70%? And it's okay if you pick I don't know, because I can imagine there are some people out there who really don't know how much of the monthly marketing budget is dedicated to digital marketing. Maybe they're not privy to that. Maybe they just, get X amount of dollars they're allowed to spend, and they don't really know how much of the pie that it actually is. But once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. I have a question for you, Gary. Is there like a national average that you know of, or where people should be?
Well, that's a double-edged question, but while there's no statistical data empirically going around the U.S. and Canada, being at conferences, talking with dealers, we're looking at somewhere around the 30 to 40% mark as a general poll. The OEMs are in a little bit ahead, but in lockstep with the dealers. Again, this is exempting the top of the class and the bottom. Across the board, we hear a lot of the 30 to 40% range. Should be, of course, that varies by market, but the bottom line is in the space you're in and the space I'm in and what most of the folks are going to be on that are attending today, it should be, as a general basis, at least 50%, in my opinion. But again, we're in the digital space.
Of course, of course. Okay, well, you know what? I've closed the poll because we got a lot of votes in. Thank you so much for getting involved. And we're going to share the results right now. So, looks like 42% of today's audience say, yeah, it is under 50%. And that doesn't surprise you, correct, Gary?
Correct.
Okay, so 16% of today's audience said they're more like 50 to 60%. 9% of today's audience say it's 60 to 70%. We actually have 13%. That's a huge part of the pie. 13% of today's audience said that it's more than 70%. I'm really impressed with that.
Fantastic.
And
so
one-fifth of today's audience said that they didn't know the answer, by the way. So 20% of today's audience don't know exactly how much their dealership is spending on digital marketing.
Excellent. So those are the people that are going to be paying attention to the first slide.
Okay.
Instead of thinking about budget. So, in my best late night with David Letterman voice, Number 10, devaluing your brand. This is something that I think everybody across the board can agree with. Basically, how do you stack up in search results? Most dealers don't occupy more than 2 spots for a search in their DBA or their location, meaning portals, reputation sites, competitors in a lot of cases are taking up multiple spots on page 1. The greatest way to devalue your brand is not being cognizant nor taking a strategy approach to becoming ever present, or at least becoming more present. If your search results for a DVA or location, you have that kind of result, 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots, not more, make it a point to really try to address that. Is the experience contiguous throughout your website or websites through search, reputation management, and social media? Most dealers don't pay attention to the experiential components the same way that customers do. It's really tough to, as we like to say, take the dealer hat off and put the customer hat on. Does it really, really stay consistent? Do you have a great website but your Facebook page just screams sale or only has your commercials? And when they do land on your website, is stuff up to date? Are you showing 3-month-old incentives? Are you showing specials for your service department that expired 6 months ago? We see a lot of that out there. So the number 1 step, the primary way of engaging consumers that first fall into your brand, right there, a lot of loss is happening. It's one of the biggest mistakes that's being done in digital marketing. Let's go to number 9, outsourcing versus outthinking. What this means is until you understand what it is that you're paying for, you understand the service, the space, what's being provided, don't pay for it. And if that means grabbing a consultant, asking multiple vendors, grabbing a speaker at an event and saying, hey, would you sit down with me for 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I don't understand this. Don't pay for services that you don't understand. This goes especially as of the last couple of years. Social media is a big one. Chat services is another big one. We see so much mishandling of the lead from contact the chat over to CRM and what the BDC, internet department, or salesperson, depending how you manage it in your dealership, we see a lot of failure in that passover, especially if it's completely hosted off-site. Question the OEM endorsed vendors and solutions. I'm not saying run from them. However, it does pay in spades to ask questions. One of the fastest ways, for example, to get dumped by Google and consumers is to use canned solutions and redundant content. Yes, you've heard a lot of chat over the last couple of years between the Panda and Penguin Google initiatives and other search algorithm updates on how it's penalizing certain types of redundant content and other bad links, etc. It's really important today. It's not just an algorithmic thing, and a lot of dealers, a lot of businesses, even though I want to try to focus on that, it's not just the content, it's how consumers engage with it. If you have a high bounce rate, it's going to affect your relevancy in search, even if you pay to be found. There's so many components. So don't simply outsource. Think about it. Get educated on it. Are you attending 20 groups and conferences and just get a recommendation? Don't look at it. And most importantly, don't benchmark. If you're going to make a switch in vendors, one of the greatest mistakes made, and maybe your new onboarding vendor is going to be a little more progressive and ask you, hey, before we switch in the next 60 days, benchmark everything. One of the greatest failures is a combination of lack of preparation, lack of measurement, and not having that partnership really engaged. So are you going to lose your Google Analytics account? Do you own it, or did the website company set it up? With your social media, do they own all the logins? Are you going to lose those? And these questions, yes, are relevant, even though we probably have a lot more progressive dealers on the webinar today. This is happening consistently. We encounter large, reputable dealership groups that don't own the stuff that makes their measurement, their analytics, their logins, their accounts, their dashboards. So when you look at what needs to be done, don't make the biggest mistake of not looking at what is supposed to be the deliverable versus just jumping into something. Think smarter, reassess regularly, because quite simply, stale sucks. Number 8, CRM Auto-Pilot Disaster. The number one Achilles heel in actually moving the metal via the internet is how salespeople, BDCs, internet staffs engage the customer. You bought a solution in a box. It came pre-programmed with templates, OEM templates, sales processes, follow-up, campaigns. You set it up and you let it fly. Maybe you got some training, maybe you didn't. The way that the customer comes in today is based on the invitation. Where does all the data live? Where's the customer information? Matter of fact, you're hearing a lot about data security today and how valuable that DMS is. Folks, that's the people that service and buy. How about the larger count that don't buy? They all exist in your CRM. The CRM is where everything happens. It's one of the greatest tools businesses have today, yet what comes out of it and what's not put into it, into those very systems, is more than enough to send a dealer to the emergency room or a general manager into a straitjacket. And also as importantly, is everybody engaged? Are they measuring? Are they writing internal requirements? If you have a CRM, the management staff, let alone the people hitting the leads, but the management staff up to the dealer should be versed on all CRM components and used. There should be a process checklist the same way there is for F&I to make sure the CRM is being managed right, not just the daily checkout so the person can leave. Look at what's being sent out. Evaluate how many times the customer should be touched. Manage the campaigns as if your life depended on it. If you treat every lead as if it's the last customer coming in the door and you document everything in the CRM, it works. About 80% of what comes prepackaged in the CRMs, as good as they are, there's some great companies out there, can be thrown out, modified. It doesn't matter who you're buying from. Most of the stuff in there is not relevant to you. And ultimately for CRM and how to make process updates, are you not only shopping your own shop or stores if you're in a group, or are you looking at your competition? You need to constantly assess opportunities to grow. And again, couple that data with what you read on the blogs like Driving Sales, ADM, etc., what you hear at the conferences. Talk to the folks, not just at your CRM, but the recognized top CRM leaders in the country. If you have access to them, talk with them. Get their ear, ask the tough questions, and grow. It's absolutely critical. If you can't set appointments and invite the customer in, throw out your CRM. If your contact rate's 20, 30%, you're not using CRM right. The process steps aren't right. The messages are not right. Are you looking at your bounce rate? Are you looking at your open rate? Are you looking at your most successful templates? Or are you not? Are you just blindly believing that CRM works? Because it can, but it doesn't work properly straight out of the box. Number 7, website Lack-tosis. For the most part, our industry still has rejected websites as recently as the last 5 to 10 years, which is ridiculous. The automotive internet's 18 years old. Thank you very much. Auto-Vitel and then Edmunds. And at that, basically for most dealers, that was the last time, except for OEM updates, that their website even got updated. We see and encounter websites that have not had content updates in 2 years, 3 years. We look at the data. We do calls for competitive stores against our clients. We go back every 6 months competitively with the SEO tools and look at their numbers. Go to Google, type in the search bar, site : website address, and links : website address, and look at their numbers and actually see a lot of dealers that don't move. Some of them with reputable providers. It's just that whose fault is it? Is it the vendors? Is it the dealers? The dealer is the one who has to establish the brand. The vendor is the one that's supposed to be responsible for your site structure, making sure you're compliant, making sure that you're SEO relevant. But most of them And this goes across the board. Of course, not a DEALERUN and some of the more progressive website companies, but so many times it's not done properly. And most importantly today, with OEMs really stepping hard on dealership toes, are you being forced to look like everybody else? Have you given up the struggle because you're not able to do really competitive SEO? Your pay-per-click has been diminished based on compliance rules. You've had to give domains back to your OEM because you've owned ones for years that they have issues with, or it's become a legal problem with the OEM's legal department. Look at all that stuff. Look at where you can be competitive. Are you leveraging new technology? If you're not using heat maps and analytics, not just Google Analytics, hopefully you're not just using your vendor's dashboard. Please tell me you're not. Run Google Analytics on top of whatever dashboard you have and look at heat maps. It's not just where people click. It's also where the mouse travels. There's a lot of free and very low cost. Matter of fact, with digital being so important today, if you're not paying for services, for analytics, heat maps, SEO, social media tracking, reputation management, if you're not paying for that, I'm not talking about co-op, if you're not paying for it yourself, you're not fully vested. That's just straight up how we have to put it. So website lack-tosis is all around, even sometimes in the most progressive digital dealers in the country. So look at all the critical elements. And again, top management dealerships should have their hands, their eyes, and their focus on this and for a long time. Number 6, vehicle unmarketing 101. Stop paying to drive traffic elsewhere first. Yes, you don't advertise like cars, like Trader, like some of the big guns in the industry, but that doesn't mean that your cars should be cheese marketed, 10 photos, and throw it up without any pricing tool work done on it. The cars are yours. They don't belong to AT, Cars.com, Every Car Listed, Trovit, AOL Autos. Those are all great resources. Whether or not they work for you is different by market, different by demographic. There's a lot of different factors. There's no such thing as does Auto Trader work or not. There's so many other factors. But keep in mind that pricing, listing properly, marketing your cars right before you even think about the syndication part. They don't sell cars. You do. They might be a marketing partner. They might be a lead partner. They don't sell the car. And validate the data. Customers don't buy from them. They buy from you. So make that where it happens. If you run searches for 50, 100, 150, 200, hopefully you don't have any, but day-old inventory, and you can't find your car with some descriptive text show up on page 1 of Google, you have to really assess how you're marketing your cars. After CRM and overall lack of education, I would say that this is the biggest issue, raised up, of course, as there's a lot of scuttlebutt right now about Cars.com, and whether you're on one side, neutral, or the other side, the bottom line on this is really highlighting the dealer, in my mind, not the service provider, and it's absolutely critical. So when you're driving traffic to your inventory, which is the #1 traffic pages in your website, it's inventory, look at what components drive leads, assess constantly, and do you completely run it in-house? Eliminate gross errors. We've had clients that are listing diesel heavy-duty trucks for invoice that just landed because the photo jockey out on the lot did it wrong. So make sure you also have processes in place. The simplest marketing for your store is your staff, then your inventory. That's critical. You have to show value, advantage, and benefit. So think about it. Make sure it's relevant. Make sure it's right. Make sure it works. And don't take turnkey solutions. Don't just assess and look at analytics. Look at what your competition's doing. Look what supposed best practices are. Trial changing your SRPs and your VDPs. Move buttons. Look at heat maps. Change format. Look at how you can modify the filters with your inventory and your website providers. Make sure that your VIN explosions are working right. Make sure that you don't have a 4-door vehicle with it listed 4 times in the main inventory line, 4DR, 4 doors spelled out, and 4D, because the inventory VIN explosion works that way. Make sure that you have the most effective marketing, and use video. It's one of the most underutilized components around inventory and staff, but definitely inventory. Video works, it's engaging, and you only need to look at any of the conferences today, and there's at least one person talking about video.
As a matter of fact, we have a webinar coming up with Phil Sura just about video in 2 weeks, and it's specifically about video for your inventory. So definitely check that one out. So thank you for that.
Absolutely great plug, Eliana. So
I got to put one in when I can.
there you go. And you know, everybody, I told her it was okay. I love being interrupted. So, and as a matter of fact, if there's any of those jump off the page questions yet, that's great. Turning over to number 5, the number 5 biggest mistake: word of mouth or no word of mouth. You can't build a brand on effort alone. Everybody on the webinar today hopefully knows that. And some of the greatest opportunities for dealers to grow their business are left on the side of the road. Remember, nobody believes what businesses say about themselves anymore, at all. They believe what people they know say and people who are like them say. It's not just online reputation management. It's still the word of mouth. It's still the neighbor with the brand new car. Hey, what was your experience like? But what does reputation management mean to you, your staff, your service manager? One of the biggest failures in reputation management is the service drive. Okay? Stop accepting no from all or any of the high-ranking personnel in your dealership. Get serious about the number one way people remove your business from consideration. Add it to your sales and service processes today if it's already not part of it. And if half the staff just goes and rolls their eyes back in their head and goes, oh, great, another process thing I need to do to sell a car, it's the number one way that they're going to continue to sell cars. I don't need to dive into the data. We already know it, even though, yes, the reputation management companies, Google included, want you on the hook for revenue. But the bottom line is we know it, we use it, we do it. Again, take the dealer hat off. Put the consumer hat on. And there are absolute ways to sell here. Here's another one where complete outsourcing does not work. Oh, we get notices when there's a bad review. No, if you're not looking at them, it's not going to be as effective as making it a process in your store. We see dealers that have been committed to reputation management for over 3 years, that are still not doing it comprehensively correct. And because of that, they're not taking advantage of it fully. Okay? Brag about it. Are you integrated? Show your happy customers on your website and social media, because that's where they come from. By the way, don't tag. It's one of the policies we bring to all of our clients that I talk about publicly. Let the consumer tag. Send them, even though you might put it up and say Joe W. from Las Vegas in his brand new Lexus, okay? Don't use the last name. Don't use the exact city. Let them do it. Let them tag the dealership, okay? And if you're still using the Facebook friend page, they can't tag you properly. So hopefully this isn't a Facebook marketing conversation. This is the 10 biggest mistakes.
No, that one's in July. That's in July. But go ahead.
Oh, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Another plug for Liliana. So let them tag it, but it adds engagement and it adds SEO value. Yes, it does. The more people point to you, even though most of Facebook content is blocked, hopefully they'll tumble you. Hopefully they tweet it. Reputation management altogether. Word of mouth from the consumer side, even though we still want the letters to the factory, that's great. That nice, crisp letter somebody writes or types and sends it to the factory or sends it to you and you send it on to your rep. That's fantastic. But it starts as a process in the store. We still rely on the consumer to do all of the action. By the time somebody leaves the store burning gas, they should have heard something to do about reputation management, survey, CSI, at least 6 times, and not all in the last 20 minutes when they're really egging to get out of the store. So make sure that this is part of your process. It's talked about as often as you have a sales meeting. I'm not going to get into the perks and compensation, but this is very, very pivotal. So make sure you've got processes and make sure your customers are talking about you constantly. So before we get into the fourth biggest mistake, Eliana.
I'm here. Let's get the poll question going. We're going to launch this poll, and everyone on the webinar, we need your help. Please check out your screen and answer this poll question for us. This is going to be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the audience is going to say about this, because we do have a lot of people in the audience. So, what is the greatest factor keeping you from investing more in digital? So select one of the following options. And I'm sure that there are people out there who would love to select more than one of these, but we really want to know what the top reason is. So your answers that you have available is it knowledge? You just don't know enough about digital, so it scares you and you don't want to spend more on it? Is it factory or co-op? Maybe the OEM is keeping you from spending more on digital? Is it just the mere cost? You just don't have any more money to spend, or you just don't want to take it away from something else? Is it the resources, or is it just simply the desire you just simply don't want to spend more on digital? So whatever it is, we want to know. When I get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. Oh, well, we did have a write-in, Gary. This is very interesting. Megan wrote in, we are at 100% digital. We have no traditional media, so I can't select an answer. Megan, I will let you skip out on this poll question, and I thank you for writing in. What do you think about that, Gary?
Awesome. Or at least in the West Coast, awesome sauce.
Oh, is that what you say over there?
I don't know. I'm not there much.
Okay, well, we have some other people who are writing into me instead of voting. What is this with you people? Okay, Casey wrote in that he voted desire because the powers that be fear change. That's pretty interesting. And actually, Megan, who answered that they're doing 100% digital, some people want to know the name of your dealership so that they can check out your website. So if you wouldn't mind writing in and letting us know, we'd really appreciate it. Oh, Megan wrote right on it. Whoa, all right. Megan wrote, oh my gosh, I'm going to say this wrong. Kyoka Honda. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. It's C-I-O-C-C-A Honda. C-I-O-C-C-A Honda. And Megan, somebody would like to give you a bag of Skittles because they think you are all that. Oh, it is Sioka. Oh, I didn't say it too badly. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's get back to this poll question and we'll share some more. Okay, we're going to close this poll and share the results. Gary, just so you know, 28% of today's audience said cost. That's the leader. 28% said the greatest factor keeping them from investing more in digital is simply the cost. 23% said knowledge. 23% also said resources. Only 18% that it had to do with the factory. And a mere 8% said desire. Gary, what do you think about that?
Fantastic. I think that's great, and it shows two pivotal components. One is they're probably not having an unbiased sit-down, and I'm not necessarily, because that's what I am, promoting a consultant, but somebody who's third-party, spending a day with their dealer or their general management, not a vendor, unless they implicitly trust somebody who can absolutely be non-salesless, completely unbiased, answer the tough questions, and really relate to what their needs are, not making it solution-centric versus cost-centric, because when there's understanding, there's willingness. The second component to that is confusion. It drives not just fear, but confusion is, well, which is, do I do pay-per-click or do retargeting? It's not the right question. It's what feeds which component, what goal do you have? Marketing is a very interesting space because it's supposed to drive leads. When we look at what a phone call or what a lead costs, what it costs to get a customer in the door, that's the only thing that should be considered along with the other rates. Show rate, write-up rate, sold rate. Everything else is just a function. So there's still a lot of confusion, but the percentages are right around there where I expected. Some of them are a little off, not going to say which, but excellent. We really appreciate those answers, and Megan, congratulations if you're at 100. So,
a bag of Skittles, a virtual bag of Skittles, of course, Megan. Well, but don't you think that a lot of people aren't spending more on digital because they're just so scared to try more? I mean, there are dealers out there who really believe they still have to have the 3 full-page ads in the newspaper.
Yeah, again,
you know that, right?
I would correct, and even for us, I'd say it's more of a relating to it and having a comprehensive understanding. We've seen dealers go from 50, 60% traditional down to Megan's store range in sub 20, sub 10 in a 12-month period. And the number one feedback from the dealers or the GMs themselves was, now I understand it. So the knowledge and the confusion's gone. They still may have a fear. I mean, the one thing about digital is it's constantly changing. So we do come across it both with clients and mostly non-clients. But yeah, it's an interesting aspect, and you think with all the information, the digital automotive web being 18, almost 19 years old, websites for the most part being around for around a decade, a little bit longer in mass, a lot of the OEM push solutions now, mobile sites, etc., there'd be a lot more willingness, but there's definitely a lack of information. There's a lack of trust. There's a lack of understanding what the vendors provide, not which one's going to work best, but which, what do they provide, and is it the right solution for their needs? That's where there's a big disparity.
So it all goes back, in your mind, it all goes back to a lack of knowledge. If they knew more about it, they wouldn't be so scared. They'd give it a shot. And I dare say, it's funny because we actually have a number of people who are writing in saying, you described us right here with the 3 full-page ads in the newspaper thing, and obviously the dealerships that are out there that are doing 100% digital are very few and far between. But I dare say, I don't think that they have regretted that decision in the slightest.
No,
I think those
our experience shows they don't.
As well as from what I've been hearing from people in the space as well. So this is a very, very enlightening part of your presentation. Thank you so much for that. Where do we go from here? We have to get to the top 4, right?
Let's go to number 4, search engine Optima-Blah-Blah. So, why don't you pay to be relevant, to get found easily, and even conquer business? SEO is here to stay, folks, regardless of pay-per-click, search engine marketing, and other very viable and really today required tactics. Yet it changes, so you best stay up with it and expect your vendors to. However, it's your job to know your market, your traffic, your direct competition, and your targets. If you don't have goals written down for sales, for leads, around all-encompassing, there's no such thing as a sales department and an internet department. They are one and the same. And I don't mean function of how it works in the store, but it is one and the same. If the dealer and the GM are not in the CRM looking at all logs, not just the board, and not just talking to the desk about how many people are on the floor, making a big mistake in 2008, let alone 2013. So SEO is ongoing. It's so incredibly valuable. And again, understanding the question begs itself, do you know how to evaluate your links and your overall SEO value? Are you going to free SEO scorecard? Are you going to SEO Moz? Are you going to Website Grader? Are you looking at all of the viable, proven, authoritative sites? Heck, SEO Moz teaches Google SEO. If you're not on SEO Moz, using Open Site Explorer, and again, only using your dashboard or even Google Analytics, agnostically yourself, you're missing out if you're not using Google Alerts to see when a page indexes or a press release gets scanned. That's critical. SEO, the reason why I put it search engine Optima-Blah-Blah is because it's so gone over but massively misunderstood. It is the most powerful component, and it's complemented by paid search. It's complemented by social media. It's complemented by consumer engagement, reputation management, etc. So this is still a huge one. Again, we see dealers that haven't updated their sites in over 2 years, and it's absolutely going to kill you. Number 3, are you the original? And I'm dating myself here. Are you a copy? Or if anybody remembers Memorex ads, great ads on TV.
I remember.
Whether websites, paid marketing, press releases, video, or any other consumer-facing content, more copying is being perpetuated than ever. Part of it is being masterminded by the OEMs who kind of control certain components, including websites for a number of OEMs, and marketing spends, including retargeting and other components. A lot of it's being done by the dealers cutting corners. They see a dealership doing really well, they're measuring it properly, but instead of putting the resources, they just say, hey, copy it. Not only does Google bash redundant content, people see through it as well. It's not required to always be the first and most innovative. Just ensure that when people encounter your business, your content, that you give them something unique. Okay? It's absolutely essential. Blatant copying should have left your skill set by the 2nd or 3rd grade, where it was really cool to copy the popular kid. It doesn't belong in your business, regardless of what your vendors tell you. The same picture of 2 elephant seals mating on Facebook does not work on 800 brand sites. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter if it's watch content, block content. It doesn't work. Consumers can see through it. Number 2, let's kill the messenger. Actually, let's not. Your number 1 and best, most valuable resource to changing your digital presence is your customer. Are you improving by listening to them? Are they listening to the staff? Is your management watching? If it's not getting done, you're failing. Your customers will tell you for no money, you had a great experience on the website, or no, I'm still here to buy the car, but it was a pain in the rear to actually submit the lead on your website. Okay? It's not enough with all the information out there at NADA, conferences, 20 groups, the automotive blogs, including outside the industry. I know a lot of people that look outside the auto industry for their data, and that's great, and I compliment you. Customer feedback's free. Do you know how to hail a cab? Customer advisory board. One of the least expensive ways of gathering that information is not just empirical at the time of sale, service or sales, at the time of transaction, but get together quarterly, definitely not less than every 6 months. Take your top 20 paying customers by gross, not losers. Maybe you have some friends with fleet customers. Sit them down, either off-site or even on-site. It's amazing what people will do in a think tank for a hot dog, some popcorn, and a pop. And if you don't utilize that information and make it transactionable, you might as well just turn everything over to your vendors and just, change your open sign to closed, because it's going to fall apart. More comprehensive surveys getting sent to 30 to 50 that didn't buy a month. Go to those people, not just the follow-up, not just your BDC call. GMs, dealers, do it yourself. Shake hands with people on the floor and ask what drove them to your store. The investment will be completely inconsequential compared to the benefit. Again, customer feedback's free. They pay you. They paid you. They continue to pay you. Even if it's warranty work, you're getting paid. Gain insight to every part of your digital presence and ask questions. What did they like? What didn't like? And the number 1 failure in digital marketing, what's being done today, let's go back to understanding and education. You're not getting training by your CRM. You're not taking back-end content management system updates from your website provider. You're not logging into your Google AdWords regularly, looking at the new tools. How many people knew that Facebook had a brand new advertising? I don't want to call it platform, but for time and simplicity purposes, we'll call it, the partner platform. How many of you know about it and are ready to leverage it? The information is out there the second that the data breaks. The number 1 mistakes dealers make is the lack of ongoing education. Do you have an understanding of the digital marketing space? Okay? It's not like TV, radio, print, direct mail that have not changed fundamentally. Yes, there's little tweaks. The radio station gives you banner advertising. Whippy, most of you can look at your links from the radio station and go, yawn. The bottom line is it hasn't changed in decades, and most of the platforms are not trackable. Definitely not cable and TV, not accurately. Okay, and definitely not direct mail. Yes, how many people brought in the ad, brought in the direct mail? Great. But this is where the number one mistake is right here. We have to get more people willing through knowledge and then things off. And maybe you don't double your budget, but you get to reappropriate. I personally call it stealing, but I was given an OEM lecture one day in a conference room. We don't call it stealing, Gary. We call it reappropriating. So that's really the number one mistake. So at this point, hey, Liana, going to turn it back over to you.
Ooh, radio voice. I love it. And thank you so much. Certainly a very, very enlightening webinar presentation, Gary. Thank you so much. And everyone out there, if you have a question for Gary, I want you to write it on in. We're going to get to those questions right after we give away a prize. So, Gary, if you're ready, I'm going to tell people that if you had come to the webinar, on the earlier side, then you heard me say it. But if you didn't and you came in a little late, then you might have missed my announcement. Our good friends at Interactive Marketing and Consulting Services, that's IMAX, are offering up a prize. One of you lucky people out there is going to be winning a comprehensive contact assessment and 1-hour training session with Gary May. It's valued at $750. Great prize for your dealership. And if you thought you learned a lot in this, wait till he sees what you guys are doing in your own dealership and then gives you direct feedback to what you're actually, what your position is right there at the dealership. So all you have to do is answer a simple question. That's all you got to do. First one to write in the correct response is going to win this awesome prize today. So get in front of your keyboards, get your mouse ready, whatever you have to do. Here we go. I want everyone to have a fair shot at this. Is a great prize. So if you're ready, I am going to say the question. First one to write in the correct response wins. Are you ready, Gary?
I am.
You there? Okay. Here we go, everyone. Good luck. Based on the presentation, what is the greatest factor affecting dealers and their digital results? Based on the presentation, what is the greatest factor affecting dealers and their digital results? Well, we certainly have a winner. My goodness. Boy, a lot of people wrote in. Oh, my gosh, they really did really good. All right, everyone, thank you so much. My goodness, you guys did a really, really good job. Ooh, okay, let's scroll up and see who was the first one to answer this. First one to answer it was Bruce Hartz. Bruce Hartz wrote in education, or as we know, lack of education. So yes, Bruce, congratulations on that. Write in and let us all know what dealership you're from so we can give you a proper congratulations. Really, really appreciate everyone coming in and giving us such great responses. I want you to know, very, very, very few people got it wrong, by the way, Gary. So thank you so much for that. And Bruce, what dealership are you from? Write in and let me know. Gary, this is very exciting. I love giving stuff away. It makes me sweat. So, Gary still hasn't written.
Q&A.
Bruce still hasn't written in. I don't know what he's doing here. Bruce, where are you from, dude? Well, I'm sure Bruce says he's very, very excited. Oh, Bruce is from Bob Bell Nissan. So thank you so much, Bruce, and congratulations. And someone from IMAX is going to be contacting you directly to get that contact assessment and training session with Gary May set up. Right, Gary?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are going to get started with your questions. And certainly if you have more questions, well, we want to know about it, so write them on in. Okay, first question comes to you, Gary, from Amy. And Amy says, do you like the idea of mystery shopping? If so, can you tell me who does it well? And you got to put it on the slide with your, cute little mugshot on there.
Okay.
There you go. So just in case you have a question you don't want to ask live on the air and you want to get in touch with Gary directly, all of his digits, as we say, in the jurors. They're all right there in front of you. So Gary, Amy says, do you like the idea of mystery shopping? And if so, can you tell me who does it well?
So not only do I like it, we actually do it for the majority of our clients and do so regularly, some weekly, some monthly. And we also use it as an assessment tool because they're already getting mystery shopped or blind shopped, whatever you call it, by their OEM or by an OEM third party. So yes, completely believe in it. Most of them can be sniffed out. So a lot of times the salesperson or BDC agent answering it will put on the perfect response. And yes, a lot of people can sniff them, especially Highline. They just stick out. Who does them? A lot of people do. So I won't necessarily endorse a single provider that can do them, but if you Amy, have more specific questions on providers, we can take that offline. But yes, it's an absolutely great tool.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. Great question. I appreciate it. I didn't know you did. I love the idea of mystery shopping. I think that if more people knew what the customer experience was like, that they would definitely make some sharp, quick improvements. Because I'm surprised when I have a bad customer experience. It surprises me every time. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am. All right, Gary, next question comes to us from John. He says, any advice on how to get my management to spend more on digital?
So the easy answer, John, is show what you're missing. Usually the knee-jerk reaction is based off misses. So again, there's some analytical, free and paid tools out there on the web that can show it for web results, SEO, can assess paid campaigns, can look at your social, et cetera, as well as your competition. So usually people get interested by the fact that they have huge misses. You know, one of them for CRM is usually, yeah, you missed 40 sales this month. They're still stuck in your CRM. If that can't get a manager off their chair, nothing will. But that's really a loaded question, and the bottom line is most of the action in the industry is either forced by the OEM, provoked by a conference or a webinar, or ultimately shown by, hey, this is what you're missing, which is how a lot of management does buy today. Hey, 8 of your main 9 competitors are on this product. You're going to need to buy it, or they're at least subscribing to the service. But go to the assessment tools. If there's a way that you just want to make it a bigger spend, you got to remember how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. So either attack it through your paid search, attack it through SEO, attack it through your website performance, CRM, but pick one, get a solid assessment, do it yourself, do it with a partner, and show the results and say, hey, for X, or here's 3 vendors that we could have provide a solution for this problem. Don't try to go at it with full force with everything. Just my recommendation, John, you know your management better than me, but that tends to be successful.
John, I hope that helped you out. By the way, we have a couple of comments just from the last 2 questions. So I want to share them with you because I thought they were pretty good. When it comes to mystery shopping, Casey wrote in, we had our local radio station do some mystery shopping and record the phone calls, and it worked out great, just an FYI. And Megan, as you'll recall, she's from Sioka Honda, who's 100% digital, right, Megan? Giving you props. Megan wrote in, when it comes to mystery shopping, also mystery shop other brands too, not just your own. And she said, we had never sold 100 new cars in 1 month at our dealership. We sold 115 in March and 100 in April, and we've only been 100% digital since January 1st. So I think that's great. What do you think, Gary?
I think that's incredible, and what she talked about is a mindset. They had a big shift, and that's what it takes. And John, you can go there in steps, but at the end of the day, it has to be piece by piece. Some people luck out and they get their GM to attend a very progressive 20 group or a conference, and boom, the lights go on. The last big one was weekend before last in New York with the President's Club, which was 90% dealer principals, the Driving Sales President's Club. There are some really critical events and webinars. I will pat myself on the back, so I'll put it over to DEALERUN. Eliana Koski Weekly. The bottom line is the information's there. It has to be willingness. So, you know, excellent response, and I completely believe in the direction Megan's going. And John, if you want a more comprehensive conversation, we can take it offline, but that's the way it goes. So, Eliana, back to you.
Oh, thank you very much. Megan, thank you so much for writing in and letting us know that. Back to Casey. Casey's got some problems he needs your help with. So, Casey writes in, our decision makers feel that since the majority of our manufacturers pay for some digital advertising, that we don't need to, or we don't want to duplicate advertising. And I don't feel that manufacturer digital advertising is, quote, accurate, unquote, enough to what we really sell, and that our customer service and a true local dealership experience. Thoughts?
Your manufacturer is never going to do that. And again, there's a movement in the industry to standardize all dealers. And I'm not saying that there's one ahead of the other. It's an industry movement as a whole. Yes, there are some that are trying to lead the charge. There's undertow. There's a lot of scuttlebutt conversation about data sharing agreements changing, where the OEM's taking over ownership. There's a lot of very interesting conversation going on, but you're absolutely correct. They're not in a position to do it, and they're not going to do it. That's completely separate from what you need to do. Folks, in a nutshell, be diehard, be passionate, be unrelenting about building your own brand, your customer service, as it was pointed out in that comment. Don't deviate from it. Yes, there are some brands out there that literally control iron fist most of the marketing or all of it, and at least the vendors. So you're a little more limited. Get creative. But the bottom line is standardization does not work. You are unique. Build your brand that way and do everything you can, piece by piece, measure it, but do that. The mind changing and the process change, the investment change only happens once people understand it, and that behavior is exhibited by being part of sales meetings, management meetings, top-down change. That's when you see the light bulb go on. It will continue. And until that happens, it's not going to be there. Next one.
Next one. Okay, well, thank you, Casey. We have another question from Casey coming up in a little bit. Before that, I want to get to Brian. All right, Gary. Brian says that his dealership has a good presence with their blog, Twitter, and Facebook. And they also have good engagement. However, their likes/follows are slow to increase. Is it better to have quality over quantity? And also, how do you feel about paying to promote on Facebook?
Really good question, Brian, for questions. So number one, I'll always take quality over quantity. However, without asking you the number of likes you have, there are certain benchmarks where the activity really increases. But to take it back a step, you're talking about integrating it throughout the dealership and promoting social media. It doesn't matter if it's blog, Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, any of your digital presence. The bottom line is that until the consumer sees it, it's pervasive, not just little links, but it's part of the culture. Not being overbearing, not telling them, hey, like us, like us, like us, like us. You know, gosh, enter, we do giveaways. Not saying it that way, but it needs to be an integrated part. And there are dealers doing that very successfully, some of them in social for over 4 years, even though this has become du jour in the last couple. So number one is everything that's going to be successful has to be looked at from a process standpoint, period. Then go into the specifics are going to be, there's certain thresholds. We see it at the 600 to 800 fan range. Then we go up about 1,100 to 1,400. There's a big bump in engagement and fan roll. Yes, Facebook and the other social platforms are all pushing to revenue models. You are going to continue to lose exposure in numbers unless you put money into those entities. I'm not a big fan of it. Doesn't matter if it's Yelp, DealerUn, or Facebook. Pay to play is part of the game. It's always going to be part of the game. But you have to look at return, you have to look at resources, and you have to look at what your goals are. Again, any aspect of your marketing that does not have a goal against it is going to fall apart or only be semi-successful. So write out a plan. That's where things really make themselves clearly evident, whether it's working, partially working, or not. You need to change strategy or cut bait. So Do those components first. That creates buy-in. The process wins, period.
Gary, thank you so much. Brian, I hope that helped you out. Boy, we had a lot of people who commented on that. For instance, Deanna wants to know what dealership you're from, so I don't know if you want me to tell her, but if you do, write in and let me know. And Megan wrote in that she doesn't believe that the number of followers matter on Twitter, so she's in agreement with you. She says when people look to a dealer, it's a right now kind of situation. They need a car right now. They need an oil change right now. They don't care what you have to say before or after their right now moment. So it's your job as a dealer to seek out, engage those customers who are putting it out there that they need you right now. So, Brian, I hope that helps. Oh, Brian already wrote back. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's move on to the next question. You ready, Gary?
Shoot.
Shoot. Okay. Craig wrote in, how much education/training should we have in a week?
That is an awesome question. Overarching, and it depends the structure of your store, across the entire staff, this affects service as well, anything, and again, this counts product training, everything else, because it touches digital. If a store trains or educates in any week, less than 5 hours, in my opinion, something's wrong. If you're looking at just the digital space, CRM training, social media, reputation management, etc., any week, anything less than 2 hours to 2.5 hours, with the rest being left up to the salespeople. How often? It doesn't matter if you use AVV, Dealer Socket, VIN Solutions, whatever CRM, because that's where all the activity is happening. Is if your salespeople are not looking at the modules, not looking at the university, not looking at the training, anything, it could be Cobalt Plug, it could be dealer.com CRM, it doesn't matter. If you have a CRM and you're not getting constantly updated, trained, just in any form updated, probably on an 1 hour to 2 hour a month basis on that alone, if not more, you're not utilizing your CRM completely. So you have to tear it down by component. I would say anything under 5 hours a week, you're losing.
Wow. That's a lot. Okay, thank you so much. Right, that's a lot of training. I mean, would you even go so far as to like have training for like service too?
Absolutely, and this goes into any underutilized component, mostly CRM utilization, follow-up, customer satisfaction, and again, Achilles heel for reputation management, the service drive. So let alone service marketing, it is, and we've heard this for the last 1.5 years, it is the red-headed stepchild. No offense to anybody who's red-headed in the audience.
I love redheads.
It is, and so do I. So it continues to be the afterthought, even though that is the sustaining factor in over 90% of dealerships in the country.
Okay, Craig, I hope that helped you out as well as everyone else. We've got a couple more questions to get to. I know it's the top of the hour, but just stick with us because these last 2 questions are really, really good. Okay, Gary. Another question comes to us from Casey. He says, do you feel like online reviews are really beneficial, or will a customer come to the dealership regardless? I'd like to get more Google reviews, but not everyone has a Google account, and that is required. Any other sites that we could direct happy customers to write a good review?
So I'm going to jump to the end first. Ask all customers. Yes, I'll make an exception to somebody who knows a heater or blows up during the transaction, of course. But otherwise, you're asking all customers, and again, service drive as well. A big Achilles heel.
I say you start at the service drive, personally, because
Yeah.
I think those are your most loyal customers.
Absolutely. So to go back to the beginning, Casey, it doesn't matter where they go as long as they're on the main 3-4 sites. And that's one thing a lot of the social media companies will push you to is, hey, you get 25 or 50 reputation sites. Don't believe it. It doesn't work. People see, and the search results are predicated off of, and it depends what you're using. For example, if you do a logistical search with Siri on an iPhone 5, you're going to encounter a Yelp result. Los Angeles Audi dealer, okay? Because they're in agreement with Yelp. You're going to see DealerRater. You're, of course, going to see Google. And they don't just need a Google account. They need a Google Plus account. They need to upgrade it. So, yes, drive traffic to wherever you're willing to. Google still shows them. It doesn't syndicate the reviews, but it still aggregates the numbers. There's speculation that it's going to go away. They are kind of hidden, but it still does show in Google Local. It still shows, 85 DealerRater reviews, 13 Yelp reviews. It doesn't show the stars or the ranking anymore, but just make it a process. I don't have a favorite, but the bottom line is you can't get away from Google, DealerRater, or Yelp. They're always in front. You make a strategic decision on what works for you, but the bottom line is it has to be processed. And don't look at it as which sites don't work for you. Your consumers are going to go where they want and just get the volume and take the bad reviews with it. I encourage them because it shows how the dealer will respond. And to your secondary question, yes, we can't get away from it, so it does engage consumers in the buying process. However, I do view it as a tool that still defers or removes customers away from the shopping process at your store for negative reviews overall versus closing it. But however, we've witnessed multiple times salespeople that really get behind it, and 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, they have walk-ins asking for them by name that don't have an appointment. It's because they saw 20, 30, 40 reviews with that salesperson mentioned consistently over everybody else. We've seen it happen. We've seen salespeople save their career at a dealership. They were on the bubble. They got behind reputation management, and suddenly they go from 7 a month to 15 or 20, and it does make a difference.
Casey, great question. Thank you so much for that. Great answer, Gary. Okay, one last question. This is a really good one. Kelly, I saved you for last. And by the way, Kelly is one of the many people who are very, very jealous about not having 100% digital marketing budget. Kelly says, would you have a dealer start an overhaul with their website in general, or would it be the vehicle merchandising or the CRM communication first? What's the first thing if a dealer now realizes they have this lack of knowledge and they are really, as you say, sucking on digital marketing? Where should they start, Gary? What's the first thing you change?
Well, before you pick your website, CRM, or any other component, you have to assess it. So again, you have to go back to the tools. Google Analytics is number one. The SEO evaluation tools, AdWords tool, whether you are doing your AdWords marketing or you gave it to somebody else, your website vendor, which is completely fine. As long as you have the login, you can look at it. It doesn't matter what component. If you're a big Twitter fan and you're not using Twitterizer or Follower One, it doesn't matter. You have to use assessment tools. Once you're there, you may want to work on CRM, Kelly, but the fact of the matter is you're not getting traffic to your website, so you may have to work on that. You may have enough traffic but not conversion, so you have to work on your specific pages or your inventory. So until you create a plan, you have to assess first. And again, if you go back to, I think it was number 7, it's going off memory, before you do anything, dealers jump all the time to a new vendor. They don't benchmark, they don't archive, and they don't measure. They just are told, hey, 17 of my 20 group partners, this works for them, so I'm making the switch. They never knew. They never ended up knowing what the deltas were in the performance because they never paid attention before. So start with assessment. You might find out a glaring issue that you never even recognized, and it might just be a minor tweak versus changes or major overhaul. So run the assessment first, get outside help from somebody that's not a vendor, and go for it. Then use the data to make the vendor decision. So great question, Kelly.
Okay, but I'll read you what the next comment is later. But assuming that you need help on your website, help on your merchandising, help on your CRM and communication, if you know you need help on all those equally as badly, what's the first thing you would do, Gary?
Wow. First thing I would do would be CRM. That's where the rubber meets the road for sales. So I would always work on CRM first.
There you have it, Kelly. And Kelly wrote in, much redhead love to you, Gary. Thank you. That's what I was laughing about. Thank you so much for a great question. Actually, all the questions were great. Thank you so much for getting involved, audience. We really, really appreciate it. And Gary, you're a pro, baby. Pro. I love it. Thank you. That was a really, really fantastic presentation. And, of course, we're just past the top of the hour. So, Gary, I want to thank you for being here. Hopefully you'll come back and do another webinar with us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And Surely I will.
Oh, yay! And of course, I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today. So please keep it and share it with friends and colleagues. We appreciate that and, of course, encourage it. And today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. All you have to do is go to dealerun.com/webinars, and from there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule and access any of our past webinars too through the on-demand feature. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, in just another minute, you're going to receive a short survey. Fill it out. Let us know how we did. Tell Gary what a great job he did. Tell him if you're a redhead, if you'd like. And we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. And we're going to randomly select a couple of people from those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So you don't want to miss out on that. And DealerUn's going to be at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention in Orlando. I'm going to be there. I want to see you. Booth 407. I don't have a face for radio, so come and see me. I'd love to get a picture with you. And it's going to be a great conference. It's May 7, 8, 9 at the Rose and Shingle Creek. And we have some amazing people from DealerUn who are going to be speaking. So if you're going to be there, we want to see you. And if you're going to be there, oh, I got to tell you this. For the first time ever, we are going to do a live webinar from the booth on Thursday, May 9th. So if you're going to be in Orlando, then you've got to come to the booth, sit there and see Grant Cardone. He is going to lay it down on how you can get 10x success. So have you 10x'd your life yet? Well, Grant Cardone has. He's going to tell you how to do it. So if you haven't already 10x'd your life, come by, ask a question live. We're going to be videotaping it, everything. So we want to see you there. It looks like McGrath Lexus of Chicago is going to be there. Well, awesome. I want to see you there, dudes. Come by, ask a question live. I'm going to be there. It's going to be insane and very, very, very exciting. So if you're ready to finally get 10x success in your life, then it goes without saying, this is one presentation you can't miss. If you're not going to be in Orlando, then I hope to see you on the webinar May 9th. It's going to be great. And, of course, DealerUn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we have some amazing webinar subjects planned for this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, then please get in touch with me directly. It's Eliana@dealerun.com, and I'm on all the social networks too. So I love hearing from you. Please write to me or call me, and I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one.